Come on. Like, I would much rather play through the game a second time than keep post-game. And yes, it is your opinion. I am sorry for... Yeah, like, in Zeppo, you probably do definitely have an idea of the Skyrim. But yeah, no, you're right. I can calm down. Completely. And yeah, you said it was your opinion, and I've been accepting it as your opinion. It's... North Island story plot with... North Island. North Island... Are you talking about Full Moon Island? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, there's no entire North Island story plot with Team Galactic. Yeah, Battle Frontier doesn't ever matter. Like, I've only ever completed a Battle Tower once, and it was actually in Sword and Shield. Like, Battle Frontier, Battle Tower, none of that matters if you just play the game. Like, that's why I don't see it as that. But yes, Mount Stark. North Island... There's nothing about North Island Pokemon. There's Full Moon Island. And then, yeah, about Mount Stark. Mount Stark. Stark Mountain. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you get to catch Heatran. That's not post-story, that's just exploration. I guess you do get Buck, but it's just not like, I don't see it as being that, it's just... Okay. But yeah, I remember... Are you sure we're not talking about, the fuck's it called? The volcano. Are you sure we're not talking about, Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, like, for what it is, anything that's not... Like, post-game is something that feels like it wasn't just tacked on to the end, I guess. Like, all the battle towers are tacked on to the end, all the other things similar to that are very much tacked on to the end. And honestly, I'm fine with having this conversation, because I like getting other people's views. I do get a little heated, so that is definitely my fault for conversation taking a more emotional turn. But yeah, I'll look at the map in a second, and we can see, like, the stuff with Heatran, you just kind of go and catch him. I've never... And again, it's been a while since I've played this game, or this version of any of the games. The crazy scientist. Oh, okay, so it's the new guy. Alright, so there is a little bit of... Well, see, that's part of the issue, though. Because that stuff should have been included in... Like, What you're complaining about is the issue there. It's the stuff that could have been included in the original versions of the game. Like having the battle tower inside of, what is it called? Or adding stuff in the third version of a game, like adding a lot of battle towers or some kind of post-game addition. Like, it's the same as buying DLC, but now you have to play through the entirety of the game again. Unless you were the one to wait on the third iteration. It's like in Black and White, you got an entirely different starting area. Like, those are some of the bigger issues that come from all of this. Like, in all, he was next to Saturn when he released the Oxima, Sprit, and Egg-Self, yeah. Like, I don't know his difference to the story. I do remember he is new because you met him against Mars at the Valley Windworks. You met him when you fought Mars at the Valley Windworks, I should say. But yeah, like, the things you're complaining about have always been an issue. It's just lesser because you had more, I guess? Like, buying a brand new version of a game. Granted, you can trade in the old version, but that also means you lose all of the progress you had still. Like, DLC feels so much cleaner. I will say something they ought to do is go ahead and release whatever their new special thing is to keep up with events, because it's supposedly a phone app that you can look at. Yeah, this is probably not safe. Let's put Monferno in. But yeah, like a lot of what the issue with Sword and Shield is people not willing to accept change and differences. At least the people that are disliking it and disapproving heavily. Oh, Rosalia. And honestly, we might be able to beat the gym today. Which is cool. That'll be 2 in a day. I don't really like leaving it at a cliffhanger at the end of stream, not being able to beat a gym. Yeah, like, the animation work is definitely lazy. They definitely need to make improvements if they're going to move into... if they're going to make another game. Like, a lot of the time that was spent on it wasn't necessarily the Pokemon, but it was a lot of the move effects. Because there are some that have really good... Yeah. But they also, like, they can definitely set the game apart, but at the same time, it costs, like, the more it costs, the worse it would be to do. Like, a lot of things, like, they've specified certain ones, but they also need to go back and fix things like double kick that just look really bad and don't match to anything. Well, they don't match to the one Pokemon. There's a bunch of other Pokemon that double kick matches to really well. Yeah. Move effects, images, double kick, yeah. Like, there's a lot of things that do need to be looked at. But for the sake of it being a game, it's not incomplete. They shipped it as complete as they thought it needed to be. And the DLC doesn't change any of the issues that are actually issues. It's just adding Pokemon. and giving us more to do sooner. Like, it's essentially giving us more to do sooner than next year. Alright, let's see what we got. Do I want to lead with Monferno? Sure, actually. If I lead with Monferno, Staravia is going to be good to have. I'm going to save real quick. Saving, don't turn off the power. Yeah. Yeah, like, and some people, and there's both sides to the super fanboys and the super, hey, you have to make it better aspect. And there's a lot of positive and negative swing on both of it. Like, you have to make it better. Yes, you have to improve the game, but moving the game to 3 dimensions did improve it. It makes it better than this. Like, the sprites are cute and all, but I like the moving cameras. I like the 3D models. I like what they've done to improve it. I like that there's extra bits and bobs here and there that are being added. Like the fact that someone apparently found a model of Bulbasaur already pre-rendered into the game before it released. Yeah, we're getting Bulbasaur now. Like, it's something that was pre-planned, and there's nothing wrong with it pre-planned. Well, it does befit this Switch title. The Switch is a shit console. Like, it's not good. And being a Pokemon fan is very different from being a Nintendo fan. Nintendo might own a lot of the rights to Pokemon, but, like, there is shit to be said. Because the Switch is not great. It's still behind its time, it still can't handle stuff it really should be able to, but it is, you know, a mobile console. So you can play it as a mobile device, you can play it as a console. It does what it's trying to do, but the Switch is not innovative hugely. Like, it is not powerful, and people aren't necessarily interested in innovation. That's what I mean to say. It is innovative, but people are more interested in your ability than innovation. Like, Breath of the Wild, it is not a great game, and a lot of people really buff up for it. I'm not a fan of it, and that's opinionated. I know, it's just... Like, I have a Switch. I still think it's not worth the amount of money I paid on it. Like, it's not a $300 console. It's probably a $200 console. Yeah, and Breath of the Wild's a simple game. And it doesn't have a whole lot to it, and it doesn't randomize, ever. Like, it runs it because it's specified to run it. It's not running it... Is geophysical? Yeah, we'll forget that. Like, Breath of the Wild's, sure, it looks nice. I don't see it. I don't see it equivocally as everyone else does. Oh, Monferno level 19. Reflect wore off. Roserade. And I played a lot of Breath of the Wild. It was fun. It was fun as a Nintendo game, and Nintendo doesn't generally... Like, I disagree to the idea that Nintendo makes good games. I don't believe that's the case. I'm probably gonna lose this. Like, Nintendo has so many fanboys vying for trying. Like, the Switch can't even handle Skyrim at its full velocity. Like, the Switch cannot properly handle things that are 10 years old. Like, there's something about Breath of the Wild that makes it look good, and it's a secret to how it made it look good. Yeah, I'm gonna lose here. And I'm loving this conversation, by the way. Like, when the majority of things your console gets that are remakes of things are not that powerful, like it's not powerful enough to run old games, and that's the biggest issue in my mind with it. Like, Breath of the Wild could, and might be more if they put more effort into it. Yeah, the art style. I'm actually not sure what that means, Zeppo. Would you mind explaining? Because I don't know that much about art stylization and stuff. It doesn't. But at the same time, people were getting on to Sword and Shield for not having high as res of textures was it as high of res textures as Breath of the Wild, or something different? Critical hit. Come on, Luxio, bring me in for this. Oh right, you're gonna heal, aren't you? Oh no, you didn't heal. Yeah, and I have the same question, kind of as H. Glorious. Like, what is actively the difference of art style between the two games? That'll be funny if Shellos gets the win here. Because there is a lot of similarities between Sword and Shield and Breath of the Wild, but also Breath of the Wild has a lot simpler aspects to it. Ah! That's right. Images. Okay, if you're comparing Sword and Shield to Ocarina of Time, you are vastly overthinking that Ocarina of Time is great graphics for nowadays. Yeah, like, yes, and you can't just pick one. Oh, motherfucking Roserade. Sure. Roserade got me. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I'm almost certain, copy image address. The image shared here, the wild area generally looks fine. Like comparing this. So in this picture, that is Link on a that is Link on the game in the aspect of where Pokemon Sword and Shield had that weird picture. Yeah, Ocarina of Time has awful graphics, but the graphics in Ocarina of Time... Oh, you do not spend most of your time in the wild area. Maybe in post-game play, but not most of the time. Most of the time is spent running routes. Come on, frustration, critical. Did okay damage. Here, this is Link from Ocarina of Time on the background of... as a Reddit post. Yeah, it just takes you to Reddit. Like, and the tree looks better than Link. Like, the tree has more polygons than Link in that version. Like, in the comparison made, like, you can't actively compare that game to the new game. It's just not enough to warrant it. Alright, Baniri, let's do this. Woo! One up, one down. We got him. And yeah, we're having a conversation while I'm battling the gym leader. That's funny. Like, actively, the rest of the game looks so much better than that. And there's, like, you can spend a lot of time out in the wild area, but it's just kind of a go-between for areas. Like, unless you're looking for something out there, you don't need to be out there. And they toned it down because the wild area is also your, not PvP, but it's your MMO area aspect. Yeah, like, and they effectively made it toned down for co-op missions, for G-Max hunting, for co-op missions, I think you can just join people. For G-Max hunting, you can just join people. Shiny hunting can be done anywhere. For rare Pokemon, you can go and get them, but you just have to go and get them the one time. Like, a lot of that, you don't need the wild area completely. And, like I said, for what it's compared to, Breath of the Wild would not function, would not be able to function if you had other people spawning, if you had random spawning. Or at least mathematically derived spawning. Team 86, Grass Knot. Alright, we got it dealt with. But yeah, again, I'm loving the conversation. And Baniri. The best place is the wild area for shinies. I mean, I learned today that for the sake of shinies, the G-Max things are the best. And honestly, if you're shiny hunting, you don't really care at that point. You've already gone through so much of the game. Like, you don't, like, what I'm gonna say is actually playing the game. Actually actively playing the game from start to finish, you really don't spend that much time out in the wild areas. Like, it's just a go-between to get from one place to another 2 to 3 times. Like, if you want to overpower yourself, definitely you can use the wild areas. But yeah, like, there is nothing wrong with how they made the wild area look. It's just trees. Like, you can do all sorts of different things with trees. Like, people are fucking head over heels for some of the shitty looking trees. Yeah, you can effectively stop going through the store to do other things. But I will say, you're not going to be shining hunting at the beginning of the story. You're not going to be... And yeah, not everyone runs through the story nonstop. I stopped and did some Gigamax stuff before I even made it to the first gym. Like, I thought it was interesting. I played a little bit with it. Okay, you're just kind of picking straws with the grass texture at this point. No pun intended. What do you mean by gritty? Because gritty could mean all sorts of things. Okay, people that are trying to be shiny hunters don't shiny hunt at the beginning of games because what they're effectively going for is to get the shiny charm as soon as possible. Or whatever other kind of benefit you can get from completion. And that's in the more modern games. In earlier games, I couldn't imagine shiny hunting from scratch. It just sounds painful. And everyone plays the game differently. I will agree with you on that. Definitely. Gritty as in unrefined. Wingle looks like a UFO. Like when it's flying? You mean like it's hovering with its wings out? I don't think... Does gritty? Definition. Yeah, I don't necessarily think you're using gritty in the right kind of term, but yeah, a lot of the animations are unrefined. We talked about this earlier. But also, yeah, like Zeppa said, the wild area isn't necessarily designed for you to just start there right away, or to even hang around in there all the time. Oh, hi Cynthia, scary lady. But, what is it? I was gonna say. There's also the fact that that Flick never really caught on to this, but all of the Pokemon that weren't standing in grass in Sword and Shield are Pokemon that are, like, super high level by comparison to you. And I'm not sure if Zeppo even knew about it, but, like, the first Onix I ran into in Sword and Shield, it was level 26. I had a grass type. I effectively whooped its ass. And it was the same Onix that Flick ran into. The difference was he didn't have Pokemon that were prepared to take on an Onix. Because he didn't have anything that Onix was really weak to. Yeah, like, there's a lot of ways you can go about saying something good or bad about Sword and Shield. I also just got cut, so... that's cool.